If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Not all of our minisodes need to be from listeners. In fact, places or lesser-known cases can sometimes take us to dark realms. Hello everyone and welcome back to this week's edition of Dark Realms. Now, there will be no video accompanying this episode, quite simply because the audio that was released last week was really subpar. So there's clearly some sort of syncing issues between all of the new equipment in regards to audio and video, etc. The video track sounded fine. The audio on its own sounded awful. So what I thought I'd do instead is put my effort into fixing that and give you a quality audio edition instead. Though these minor irritations are going to happen as you try to progress. So we take it on the chin and we go on. And today we're going to do our very first Dark Bite, which is not about a location. And we are going to start our very first non-locale Dark Bites about the one and only talking board. Yes, the Ouija board. Firstly, a huge shout out to our wonderful team over at Patreon for keeping the show afloat. Right now, as you all know, you can get a free week trial at any tier to see if you enjoy our community, which I genuinely think is the best out there, by heading over to patreon.com/thedarkparanormal, or you can click the link in the show notes. Our lowest tier entry removes all ads. And like I've said previously, this time of year, you're not going to see a single podcast that has a good following have anything less than a 100% fill rate in their ad slots. And that will go on until around January. So even if you just sign up from now until the end of January, you're at the very least guaranteeing yourself no breaks in play in anyone's experiences. So you could either use your change to buy a coffee, which will last 5 minutes, or use it to have ad-free entertainment of 4 to 5 hours each and every month, or 6 to 7 hours dependent on the tier, if you go for the tiers that have the Patreon-only shows. So click the link in the show notes if that's for you. But right now, we're going to take a step into a dark realm to look at an item that, let's be honest, intrigues, fascinates, and terrifies each and every one of us at some level. This is the item that fascinates me the most in the paranormal world for how skeptics react to it. You, along with I, will have met countless people who say, I don't believe in the paranormal or the supernatural, but I will never play a Ouija board. Some people I know won't even have one in the house. Not that there's many knocking round, it's just a term of phrase they will say. But in the next breath will say they don't believe in the supernatural. So, let's take a step and a closer look at the infamous Ouija board. Long before the Ouija board became a best-selling parlor game, humans have tried to communicate with the dead. One ancient precursor comes from China, where a form of spirit writing using suspended tools was practiced centuries ago. Other cultures, from Greece to Rome, all experimented with divination systems they believed would open channels to the spirit world. But it was the spiritualist movement of the 19th century that gave birth to the modern Ouija board. In the 1800s, seance circles, spirit trumpets, and automatic writing became wildly fashionable. Back in those days, just at the turn of the 1900s, Ouija boards weren't really seen as strange or stay away from that. It was more entertainment, comfort, spiritual reassurance. Onto this stage step a group of Baltimore entrepreneurs and created the first commercially successful talking board in 1890. Charles Kennard, Elijah Bond, and their colleagues founded the Kennard Novelty Company to produce a wooden alphabet board and a sliding planchette. According to legend, when they asked the board itself what its name should be, it spelt out Ouija. The board said it meant good luck. We now know that might not be true, however the name did stick. It's long since been believed Ouija comes from the French and German for yes and yes, which in and of itself is a bit strange, as you would assume it would be called a ja non or a oui nein. A yes-no board makes much more sense than a yes-yes board. But I digress. To secure a patent, the inventors demonstrated the board for a patent officer, who was said to be shaken when it correctly spelled out his name. Production began in earnest, and the Ouija board became a sensation overnight. Advertisements called it mysterious, marvelous, the link between the known and the unknown. Factories multiplied to meet the demand. Throughout the early 20th century, it was a household curiosity. And when Parker Brothers purchased the rights in the 1960s, sales skyrocketed. In 1967, the Ouija board outsold Monopoly. But the board's popularity also collided with darker things. When The Exorcist was released in 1973, featuring a young girl casually using a Ouija board and then becoming possessed, the public's view shifted dramatically. And from that point on, many people saw the Ouija not as a game, but as a portal to something malevolent. Obviously, as we will go on to discuss two very famous cases, allegedly dealing with the Ouija board can lead to possession. And for some reason, the Roman Catholic Church seems to have this kingmaker status on exorcisms and the power over demons. And it's bizarre that it's a recognized power amongst other faiths who will redirect alleged possessed people to the Catholic Church. Now, it may be quite obvious, but the Roman Catholic Church's stance on Ouija boards is absolutely clear. They're forbidden. The Church teaches that attempting to contact spirits invites grave spiritual risk. The Catechism condemns all forms of divination and communication with spirits, stating that such practices must be rejected because they open the door to deceptive spiritual forces. Catholic exorcists have been even more direct, many of them describing Ouija boards as literal entry points for demonic activity. One prominent exorcist remarked that they are a portal that invites dark influences. Another warned that they are one of the primary ways people unknowingly create openings for the destructive forces that ruin their lives. The late Father Gabriele Amorth, the Vatican's most famous exorcist, repeatedly issued blunt warnings, once saying, "People have lost their faith, and superstition, magic, Satanism, or Ouija boards have taken their place. And these all open the doors to the presence of demons." So for the Church, the Ouija board is no toy. It's a spiritual experiment with potentially catastrophic consequences. Next, we'll take a look at two of those catastrophic consequences that may or may not have been down to the Ouija board.
Personally, I can find it really hard to focus, and as a non-drinker, I can also find it tricky to try and wind down. And how you go about finding your personal vibe is your individual choice. Do you know there's a 100% American farm-grown online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC direct to your door? And they found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients so they can target nearly every mood and health concern you can think of. I'm talking about Mood.com's incredible line of functional gummies. supplements. And our listeners get 20% off their first order at mood.com with the promo code DARKParanormal. Forget one-size-fits-all supplements that just get you high. Mood gummies are optimized so it can take as little as 15 minutes to take you to the mood you desire, like the Mind Magic gummies for creativity and focus, or PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings. And there's a plethora of other gummies for you to find your perfect mood. These days we all know gummies just to get high can be bought from just about anywhere, but Mood have changed the game by combining premium federally legal THC with targeted botanicals to help you get in the perfect mood in as little as 15 minutes with no dispensary lines or no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered discreetly to your door. Best of all, not only is every Mood product backed by a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, as mentioned, our listeners can get 20% off their first order by entering the promo code DARKParanormal. So go to mood.com and find the functional gummy that matches exactly what you're looking for and let Mood find your perfect mood. And don't forget to enter the promo code DARKParanormal for 20% off.
Well, the holidays are almost here, and if you still have names on your list, don't panic, because Uncommon Goods makes holiday shopping stress-free and joyful. They have thousands of one-of-a-kind gifts you literally won't find anywhere else. And you'll find those presents that say, I know you, I know what you like, I know what you love. And the chances of you giving someone a present they already have are exceptionally small. There is an artistry set that I've just bought for my little niece, and I know it's a one-of-a-kind and she will adore it. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the US. Many are crafted by independent artists and small businesses. So when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting those artists, those small businesses, and every purchase is a chance to choose something remarkable and feel good about where your money goes. Because with every purchase you make with Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a non-profit partner of your choice, donating more than $3.1 million to date. And they have something for everyone: mums, dads, kids, teens, book lovers, gardeners, mixologists, you name it. So don't wait. Make this holiday the year you give something truly unforgettable. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/darkparanormal. That's uncommongoods.com/darkparanormal for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary.
Today's episode of The Dark Paranormal is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it. So your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Companies and affiliates' potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
And the first of our two famous cases is arguably the most famous case in the world. It's the one about Roland Doe, or later identified as Robbie Mannheim, the inspiration for the film The Exorcist. Roland was an only child in Maryland in the late 1940s. His closest companion was his Aunt Harriet, and she introduced him to a Ouija board. When she died, the grieving boy, it's the one about Roland Doe, or later identified as Robbie Mannheim, the inspiration for the film The Exorcist. Roland was an only child in Maryland in the late 1940s. His closest companion was his Aunt Harriet, and she introduced him to a Ouija board. When she died, the grieving boy, knowing that link, attempted to try and contact her using the board alone. Soon, strange disturbances began occurring around him, scratching in the walls, objects moving of their own volition, furniture shifting. Roland's bed began violently shaking at night. He began speaking in guttural voices and entering violent trances. Red scratches would appear on his body, sometimes even forming words. A local priest attempted an exorcism at the hospital, but it ended abruptly when Roland broke free of the restraints designed for grown men, and then slashed the priest with a piece of bed spring material. The family then relocated to St. Louis, where a team of Jesuit priests, led by Father William Bowden, took up the case. Over weeks of nightly exorcism rituals, the phenomena escalated. Flying objects, the boy speaking in voices not his own, hatred of sacred objects, and spontaneous welts forming on the skin. On April 18, 1949, after hours of violent struggle, the priest invoked St. Michael the Archangel, and Roland suddenly relaxed and announced, "He's gone." He described a vision of St. Michael defeating a dragon engulfed in flames. From that moment forward, the disturbances ceased. Roland remembered nothing of the ordeal. He grew up, married, and lived a quiet life. Allegedly, his first son was named Michael. Now, I would imagine if you're listening to my voice now, you know the full story of the Robbie Mannheim case back to front. And we're not going to dive into it, we've done it before, but it is key when we talk about Ouija boards. But for me, what is the most key thing about the whole Roland Doe experience, and I've said it before and I will say it again, is that why did this man choose not to go public? What sort of harrowing effect and trauma did that have on him that would literally make him go completely off the scene and walk away from life-changing amounts of money? And I do mean life-changing. We're talking millions of dollars. Amanda Knox signed a book deal of millions. When she goes on TV appearances, it's tens of thousands of dollars. But Robbie Mannheim would dwarf those figures. Imagine today coming out as the genesis for the creation of the film The Exorcist. The boy who was possessed. The real Reagan, if you will. And I think that the people who are skeptical, who don't like, for example, the film The Exorcist being in their house, which we covered the other week, or even the book, I think that unsettles skeptics. The idea there's just something they can't put the finger on that's a bit too evil about it for them. The thing that disturbs me, as someone like you guys, who is a complete fan of all of this, is that very question of why he chose to stay silent. We know about Janet and Enfield, despite her reluctancy. We know about the Conjuring House. We know about Amityville. We know about everything because people got quick. If I'm going to suffer, I may as well earn money. What was so traumatizing that someone would say, I never want to discuss this again? And that's what intrigues me about that particular case. The next famous case that we will look at, I will be perfectly honest and confess, I was not aware it was real. If you've seen the film Veronica, that is based on a true story, as many films like to put in. But it really was. In 1990, 16-year-old Estefanía Gutiérrez Lázaro, a young teenager from Madrid, participated in an improvised séance using a Ouija board at her school. She and several classmates attempt to contact the recently deceased boyfriend of a friend. The session took place secretly in the school restroom. During the séance, a teacher discovered the students, bursting into the room and angrily breaking the Ouija board. At that moment, the board snapped. Witnesses claim a strange grey smoke came out of it. Estefanía, standing closest, inhaled the smoke before anyone could react. And from that day on, Estefanía's life unraveled. She began suffering terrifying hallucinations, shadowy figures with no faces approaching her bed at night, whispering to her. She experienced seizures, violent fits, and episodes of deep trances. At times, she attacked family members with alarming force, and doctors found no medical explanation. Her mental and physical health deteriorated over months. In August 1991, she collapsed during a seizure, fell into a coma, and died that night. The official cause of death was listed only as sudden and suspicious. After Estefania's death, the family home erupted into chaos. Knocking sounds echoed through the walls, doors opened and slammed on their own accord. Objects moved or flew across the room. Family members would hear laughter, screams, and Estefania's own voice crying for help. The younger daughters claimed they were physically attacked by invisible forces in the night. One evening, a framed photograph of Estefania ignited spontaneously on the wall. Only her face burned. The glass and the frame remained untouched. After enduring more than a year of attacks, the family called the police in desperation. The officers who entered the apartment encountered phenomena they could not explain. Furniture moving, doors opening violently, scratches appearing on walls. A crucifix witnessed being torn from the wall with its figurine broken. A chilling coldness would fill certain rooms, and several officers decided to go and stay outside. A written police report documented those very events, which makes what's known as the Vallecas case one of the only officially recorded hauntings in Spain. The family soon moved out permanently, and whatever plagued their home did not follow them. To this day, the case remains Europe's most chilling Ouija-related tragedy. So, what exactly could the Ouija board be? Well, in my opinion, it could be many things. A quick 3 from the top of my head. 1, it could be faked. I know I've had more than 1 or 2 Ouija board sessions where I've known who's pushed the entire planchette around. You could see the whites of their fingertips as they're doing it. But they would deny all knowledge, of course, because, and this is key, some members of the group believed it was real, which only spurred them on further. Then we have the ideomotor effect. The idea, yes, we are pushing it, but we're not aware we're pushing it. It's just our arms making subconscious little miniature movements that push the planchette around the board. Now, if everyone is in the right frame of mind, they will subconsciously again all start to push in the same direction. This is why you often see figure 8s getting drawn out, or circles going on forever. And if names are spelt, they're normally very obvious. If it goes to J after saying it's a man, it's probably going to go to O, H, and N. Because everyone's subconscious is automatically thinking, well, it's probably a John. So then their arm glides more easily to the O, to the H, to the N. Because remember, when people do the Ouija board, they're not doing it generally to get much else out of it than a scare. In my opinion, the Ouija board does work, but not all the time. It's like having 100 landline phones spread out all over a desk, and 5 of them are plugged in. You won't know which one is plugged in until you pick up the phone and hear that dial tone. That's probably not the best analogy because it implies only certain boards work. I don't mean that. I mean only in certain situations will any board work. Because I think that just as real as the proven real ideomotor effect is, and it's a subconscious movement done by that group, for me it's about who's at the driver's seat of your subconscious. We know it's not you. That's why it's your subconscious. So could it be the consciousness of something malevolent or even nice, trying to use you as a vessel to get their message across? Maybe. But another spin-off theory could be what the Ouija board actually does is bring out somebody in the group's latent psychic ability through their subconscious. What I mean by that is I have an example, not necessarily of psychicness, but a Ouija board took place that I was part of. My friend who'd moved over from Sri Lanka was taking notes, and he said to us, he'd been in the country maybe a month, if it's a real thing, ask it what the house number was that we lived in when we first moved to Sri Lanka. So we did, and it said 172. or similar. I forget the actual number. He put the pad and pen down and declared it all nonsense as it was 83. And I think at that point, the whole group decided this isn't working, it's going nowhere, and that was the cherry on the cake. Cut to about 2 weeks later, and he's had a conversation with his mother about the Ouija board, where she's berated him for even doing it, and he had to convince her he was only taking notes. And then she got a bit more conversational. What did you ask? And it turns out the house they moved into first was house number 172. She said they lived there a week, they didn't even unpack, before moving to number 83. So perhaps when we do the Ouija board and it works, or we believe it works, and we think we're speaking to someone by the name of John or similar, we're actually talking to another member of the group and their psychic selves that even they are unaware we're all speaking to. Just a thought. A terrifying one, but just a thought. But those stories of Estefanía and Roland Doe serve as stark reminders of the Ouija board's dark reputation. Now, whether these events were supernatural or psychological, they endure because they touch something deep within all of us. That fear, the fear that we're not alone, and possibly that calling into the darkness, as we've said many times, may invite something back. I think in terms of realms of darkness, today's episode is possibly the darkest realm that we've ever covered and ever will. But until next time, stay safe, take care, and I'll speak to you soon.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.